Hi, Paula. Nice to see you. Wonderful.
Nice to see you too, Els. Hi.
So, what are we going to do today?
Well, today we're having a discussion about Principle 2.
Okay.
Health is inner peace, healing is letting go of fear. Yeah. And Els, in your book, you've summarized sort of into 10 key points the message of Principle 2. And for the purpose of this discussion, we've condensed it even more into three of them. So I'll read them out. Health is your true nature. This refers to your inner sense of wholeness. It has nothing to do with the body. Fear obscures your healthy state of being. And rejecting all illusions is the doorway to experiencing health and peace.
Yes.
Yeah. And I have questions for you, but if something arises for you there that you'd like to talk about, or just whatever
No,
comes
you,
up for
you
you.
can you can do the questions. It's okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, well, part of, it's broken up into two sentences. So this health is inner peace. What does health mean in this context? And
But, yeah,
yeah.
it's lovely you ask it because it says health is in a peace. There's the answer.
I
Health
know.
is in a peace.
Well, how does that inner peace affect our overall well-being, like physically, emotionally, spiritually? Um,
Health, it doesn't say health is that your body is healthy. That doesn't say. It says health is in a peace. So uh, because we always see health and sickness as opposites, you could say sickness is when you are not in inner peace. The sickness is not when you lost your leg, or sickness is not when you have COVID, or sickness is not when you have whatever disease. Sickness is not being in inner peace. So the invitation is to be healthy, and it means to be in inner peace. That's
yeah,
the invitation of this principle. And
yeah,
because your essence is in a peace, you say when you are healthy, you are connected with your essence, so you are in inner peace. And then when you are in a peace, you will find out that whatever happens to the body or to the mind or to the emotions or to your hair when you've been to the hairdresser, whatever happens, or to your clothes, for example, whatever happens, it doesn't matter because you are in inner peace and you are able to deal with it in a healthy way, in a clear way. So you know, because you are healthy, you are in inner peace, you are clear, you know what is necessary to do and how to act.
yes, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, that's very clear. Thank you, Els. Um, yeah, so in your book, you write, um, when we experience fear and disapprovingly judge, there's a lack of trust and we forget who we are. Um, And I'm just going to read out a quote from your book. You no longer see yourself as whole, and you've lost sight of your impersonal self. In doing so, you are going against your essence, against the truth of who you are. This results in fear, which makes it impossible to experience love and is followed by a sense of separateness.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you want to explain that further? Like I'm taking this disapprovingly judge as a projection of our own fears and illusions. And just wondering if you wanted to have
Yes.
your say
So
on that.
when I lose sight
Mm.
of my essence, and mostly that occurs when I think I'm something different than my essence. So when I think when I think I'm stupid, or when I think I'm not loving, or when I think I'm guilty. Guilty is such a horrible thing to think I'm guilty, because in this universe we are not guilty. So in essence we are totally innocent. Yeah. So when I when guilt comes in, and when I think I'm stupid, mostly I think, oh, I should have done that better. I'm guilty that I haven't done it right. So when guilt comes in, fear comes up because I throw myself out of the awareness of what I'm in essence are. And then I feel alone. I leave my home. I leave my house. I leave my home. Going away from essence is leaving home. And then I feel separated. I feel alone. And I think, oh, this is a horrible world. They are all attacking me. I have to defend myself. And then I start attacking. I call it a defense, but I start attacking. But in essence, I'm totally safe. When I'm home, in essence, everybody can come and say anything about me, but when I'm in essence, I'm so connected with innocence and with love that I'm just like a spectator. I'm just somebody who is at home and just looks around, and I will not go um, in ideas of what I see, of what I think. I don't go in judgments. So it makes me like a spectator. I'm not judging, and I can stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I lose this side on my impersonal self, in a way I'm lost. And when I'm lost, I try to find myself back in duality, and then I say, oh, I'm big, or I'm strong, or I'm whatever. I take identities, and when I take identities, I'm totally lost.
Mm. Mm.
Because then I have to defend my identities, and it's a way in duality. I get lost in duality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned guilt, that there's no such thing as guilt, and that would be quite hard for um, a lot of people to understand, I guess,
yes.
guilt and illusions.
Yes, guilt is an illusion. So when you can't believe that it is an illusion, it might be helpful just to close your eyes for a moment and go to your heart place, and then ask yourself, in this cosmos, in this universe, uh, you are guilty. People are guilty. Is that true? So when
Mm.
you when you find your answer in the heart, what is the answer? Can you find it?
Yeah, no, they're not. People aren't guilty.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
no, no. There's no guilt.
Innocent.
So
Yeah.
when I say I'm guilty, and
Mm.
I can understand that this thought can come up, but
Mm.
it has all to do with all our ideas about how we should be, how we should act. eh? Good mothers don't act like that. Good children don't act like that. It's nonsense. When I ask myself these questions, and I realize that it's not true, then every time I think I'm guilty, I'm lying to myself. So every
Mm.
time when guilt comes up, I could ask myself, can I absolutely know that it is true that I'm guilty in this universe, that I'm guilty for God, that I'm guilty, in essence. And
Yes.
then I
Yeah.
have never found another answer than no.
Yeah.
No, I cannot
Yeah.
know that. So how can I help myself? Every time when guilt comes up, ask myself that question and answer it,
Mm.
and be
Mm.
open to the answer. And then it
Yeah.
will come back, and ask again the question and answer it, and be open to the answer.
Yes. Yeah.
So that will
Yes.
help me
Mm.
to
Mm.
shift my perception from guilt
Yes.
to innocence.
Yeah. 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 And Els, in your book, you've got some great examples to promote self-inquiry. Um, and some of the questions, speaking of questions, one was, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right, even if it costs you your beliefs?
Yeah.
Um, there you talk again about a willingness to give up identifications, replace fearful thinking with unconditional love. Um, Yeah, I'm just wondering if you could speak more about that. Like, how do you become willing when you're scared or angry or afraid?
Well, mostly when you are scared, angry, or afraid, you have a good education in that. So you have practiced it for a long time. So when you like it, go on. But when you think it's enough is enough, it's time for something new, it's a time for a change, then you could try to say, okay, I don't know how, and I'm willing to be open to be happy instead of to be right. And then you can try to find all the things where you want to be right and say, okay, I'm ready to stop that fight. I'm willing to be happy instead of willing to be right. So you have to whistle yourself back every time. You know, when it happens, whistle and then okay, back
Yeah.
in my dog's kennel or back in my yeah.
I like it. Yeah,
Yeah, just
yeah. So
back,
dog,
go
back
back.
in your heart, you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, back in your heart, but back in your not as yeah. Well,
Yeah,
when it's okay, back in my heart. But when I can't find my heart right away, back in my
yeah.
kennel. You know,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
not so
yeah,
dangerous as when I'm out of my kennel. Back in my kennel, lock the door, shut up. You know,
yeah.
because it will not help me when I go on.
Yeah. Yes.
It will
Yeah.
bring me
Exactly.
further away of the awareness of that I want to be happy instead of want to be right.
Yes. Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
I have to go 1,000 times back in my kennel, but there is nobody else in my kennel. I'm on myself, you know. I gotta relax, come back.
Yeah.
What do you want? In essence, okay, I want to be happy instead of to be right. Okay, and then the door go open, and don't rush out. Just talk from the kennel, you know. Stay there.
Yeah. So it's about going inside
Yes. Yes.
and taking your time with it and yeah, being with it, being with that feeling perhaps. And
Yes. We often rush out with
yeah.
emotions and with speech and with thinking and we
Yeah.
just whop, we rush out. Don't
Yes.
do that. Stay at home and seal
Yeah.
your lips, you know.
Yeah.
Don't say anything you regret later on
Yes.
or right away.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also about flexing that muscle, like keep practicing that,
Yes, of
keep
course.
practicing going back in.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Because
Yeah.
there will be a moment that you see you don't do it. You don't run out of your kennel right away. And then you can celebrate it, knowing it will happen again.
Yeah. Yeah.
You will run out and have to decide again, back, and you will run out and back, and you stay and you stay and you stay. And then all of a sudden you run out again. And then
Yeah.
maybe you have to laugh or back, you know, back in the kennel. Yeah.
Uh, so I think yeah, you've sort of explained it as the steps that can be taken and perhaps releasing the fear. Um, I was just wondering about, how in your own experience, how does healing unfold? But maybe we've covered that.
Well, it's 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 really healing really has to do with the realization that everything I suffer from has to do with my own projections
Mm,
on myself and on the world, on the people, on the things in the world. It's everything is my own projection. There's no one responsible for what I feel. It's all happening here. And when I'm willing to take my projections back, um, and to realize that there is no guilty person there and there's no guilty person here, it's just a pattern. Mostly it's just a pattern that it's there's a belief and I suffer from that belief and that belief is mostly a pattern. And well, I will be confronted it all the time. I always
mm,
say when I have a really hard pattern that is very, very much alive in me, I can be dead in my coffin, and that guy or that girl comes in and standing next to my coffin where I am in dead, and they start to say it again. I will sit up, you know, because it's my pattern. That's how strong patterns are.
Yes, I get that.
So, but when you are really when you really want to change it, when you really want to stop living that pattern, you have to make a decision and to do it and to do it and to do it and to see fail, fail. Okay, it worked, fail, it worked, fail, fail, it worked, it worked. And that will
Yeah,
go on until you get like a routine in it to don't go in the pattern, because the
mm,
routine was to go in the pattern, but to don't go in the pattern. And then all of a sudden you do it again, you go in the pattern and you have to laugh. And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
really, that's profit, when you have to
yeah.
laugh,
Yes,
because
yeah,
then you can feel it's not like tight anymore. It's more like, well, it starts to get a game.
yes,
And then you
yeah,
have to laugh and you can forgive yourself, and you know, and
yeah,
forgiving yourself that you come in the situation helps a lot.
mm,
Forgiving yourself that you have come in a situation, every situation in your life, whatever it is, just forgive yourself that you you found yourself in that situation. And it's not about guilt, but just
mm,
forgive yourself that you were born there, that it happened with your parents, that it happened at that work, that it happened on the street, that
yeah,
you,
yeah,
yeah, you just
yeah, yeah,
walked
yeah,
by and found yourself in the situation. Forgive
mm,
yourself
yeah, yeah,
over and over and over again.
yeah, yeah, because we come back to our innocence. We're innocent,
Yes,
innocent.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Okay,
beautiful. Thank you, Els. Thank you.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see you next time.
See you next time, Paula. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye bye.
Bye-bye.